Yeah, the more commercials something has, especially when you turn to it for like magazine type entertainment, say the social media apps, 100% a turn off. Almost as big an ick as saying like, "Oh my god, I never do this."
I hear what you mean, and I feel like there's a few commercials that almost just like make me dread and hate their product so much. Like everyone has heard of one. I don't want to like discredit it too much because they'll probably get be sponsors in the future, but you know the ones like the pharmaceuticals, sometimes like the tech and software, just app ones where it's the same just annoying commercial on repeat. I guess we used to experience that in TV, but just over time, I'm just like, I feel like TV's commercials have finally made it to the internet full blast, and I hate it.
The app has also realized that annoying commercials work best for you.
Because I pay attention to it, or because they're just harder to skip?
Well, I don't know. You tell me. That's you. It's your experience. You're living it. Not I.
No. What I really just need, they'd probably just tell me is if you really hate these commercials, just pay for premium, which might be what the route they're trying to do.
I think that is exactly what they're trying to do. Mm-hmm. And what all the online advertising tells me, sort of like when people talk about what they think of the internet, they're really just telling on their version of the internet. Hi, hello, and welcome to The Far Side. I'm your host. My name is Austin. Co-host. Be my ghost.
All right. Co-host, Tyler, his brother.
Thigh man.
Yeah.
TH. Dude.
The Thai man.
The Thai man. Speaking of...
Yeah, I thought you were going to bring this up.
We're definitely qualified to speak about this, but yeah, dude. Thailand and Cambodia. There has been an armed escalation, and now we have a jungle version of the Ukraine popping off.
No, I don't think it'd be the same exact situation. It is popping off, but I think they're more on equal terms when it comes to military prowess. I like to know who has like the better weaponry and hardware.
Yeah, who are the proxies?
But right now they're not trying to do. I don't think they're trying to do a full flail. I think it's just a big flare up that if they don't simmer down, will just become a bigger issue.
I foresee drones being difficult in that environment. It's jungle.
Yeah. Well, they're also just right now just firing artillery shells at like the two nearby cities. So they're just getting fucking like hit hard. And they're just like, well, we just got here.
I have seen videos of dudes just like civilian guys on bikes riding by the artillery, just taking selfies.
Yeah.
They're not getting like too close, obviously, so no, stop them.
But they're like, still like... It's like us like down the street or down the block. They're like, hey, I'm assuming the military is like, hey, at least be like 50 meters away or something like that.
Everyone talks about what Gen Z is going to be like at war. No one talks about what the Gen Z people who are like next to war are going to be like in America, at least. We see these microcosms in others where, yeah, you get guys taking selfies next to the artillery, or I'm assuming mostly younger dudes taking video of older guys, maybe even family, older soldiers, just firing off into the jungle, wearing their chanclas. Yeah, it goes hard. It is definitely...
no one really knows what they're shooting at. It looks like they're just kind of shooting into the jungle.
Oh, I don't think you can't... From the videos I have seen of the trenches, good luck seeing 12 feet ahead in those jungles.
Yeah.
It's Vietnam.
Yeah, and when you fire a bullet through that much vegetation, it's going to start deflecting and slowing down fairly quick.
That's why they all have those big, heavy machine guns.
Yeah.
Because it can kind of mow down a lot of that brush concealment.
I could see that.
That acts as like a... I don't know if cover is the right word, but it certainly acts as a bit of, like you said, deflecting. It means that the bullets aren't going to travel straight.
I hear you. And also, you brought up earlier, too, the good point about them taking selfies. That's also a bad military strategy, because that's what Russians were doing in the beginning, and then Ukrainians would pop on social media to see what's happening and be like, that's their position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they use social media in the Ukraine to propagate, say, I believe the Ghost of Kiev
Mm-hmm.
and a couple other early victories.
Yeah.
And then we find out the Ghost of Kiev is really Sam Hyde all along.
Who's Sam Hyde? I didn't know.
You don't know who Sam Hyde is?
No.
I'm kidding. Kind of a niche internet personality / comedian. He has very like he's like the king of edgelord humor.
Okay.
He's a bit of an intellectual, but he's definitely a control freak. Doesn't really play well with others.
Yeah.
But he is, at least from what I have seen online, I think an interesting representative of a demographic of people who are at their souls trolls.
Yeah.
Just, that's it. But are somewhat intellectual about it, but they're definitely trolls.
Yeah.
He kind of gets labeled as an anti-Semite, racist, and a few other things. It's hard to know, is this just comedy and he's doing an act and it's part of a bit? Where does the line end? Because, I mean, he has like Jewish people on his show.
Okay.
He trained... You remember Harley, the really big guy from Epic Mealtime? Old school. Throwback. Shout out
Epic Mealtime. Was it the one where like everyone was like doing like the big like bacon wrap stuff?
Big giant meals.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have to
that was
eat
a fun
the whole
one.
thing, you know, sushi lasagna.
Yeah. And yeah, they were one of the first internet raves was just make gigantic food. I remember our little brother and like his friends ended up making like a gigantic pancake, like just as like kind of
Inspired a whole generation of kids to just completely destroy their stomach lining one evening.
Well, yeah. And also like destroy a kitchen. But at the same time, I'll take that break over half the stuff that people do now.
Much better sort of like coming of age type realization story than some of the other.
Yeah,
internet.
some of the early internet was so innocent. Like innocent was like planking.
Very innocent.
Yeah.
Very wholesome.
Mm-hmm.
Very like Christian church group.
Yeah.
Like, hey everyone, let's like get together and do a fun thing. How about let's all plank? And then you take photos, put it on your Facebook, and like someone goes viral doing it because it's just so goofy.
Well, yeah, it's like, what are you doing? Like, oh, I'm just planking on a park bench right now. It's just like, yeah, it was an inside joke that was just like so easy and fun to do. And then a few people actually died from it too.
Because someone always does.
Yeah, someone did it in front of like a train
Whoa.
Tracks or something like
Hot
that.
light, too close.
Yeah,
Like
I gotcha.
a shaka. Like you don't need to yell into it like this.
I was fixing something.
I know
yeah, I hear
you weren't fixing nothing. You were fiddling. I go.
Fiddling. I was fiddling with the mic. Okay, so what tangent were we just on?
Doesn't matter. Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, the files. Trump's just got to release them.
Delete
But he's
it.
not going to.
It is funny to see the way different people are reacting to the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those Rorschach tests via the internet. I mean, originally we were talking about Thailand and Cambodia, but yeah, I can't remember where the tangent ended up.
Oh, let's go back to that because we could go on for this other thing for a while. So, Thailand and Cambodia are currently fighting a border skirmish right now. I guess both of their leaders are trying to be nationalist strongmen. Both their like chief of staff, basically like chief of the command, or sorry, chief of the military.
What do you know about this?
Just did a little bit of reading with The Economist.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
and
the
the Wall Street
Economist
Journal,
propaganda, Wall Street Journal,
Ground
propaganda.
News, which is sponsored by
Propaganda.
everyone.
Propaganda.
Yeah, that's where you check the little Ground News. See where right and left.
It's propaganda.
Yeah,
Fake news.
a little war fronts at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah,
What?
yeah, just
Or
tragedy.
what?
Tragedy, just like the Epstein files.
the greater tragedy is this podcast.
I think we're turning into a comedy.
Definitely not. Definitely not. This podcast is not as much of a tragedy as the, Epstein files.
Whoa.
Certainly that's hard to say. Hard to say if it's on par of a tragedy as Thailand and Cambodia popping off with bullets, armaments.
Well, to be fair, Thailand and Cambodia is like an actual tragedy. Like, you hope it doesn't escalate as something that's going to obviously kill thousands of people, maybe even more than that. But Donald Trump is just such
an unfortunate history of ethnic cleansing.
Yeah, going with the Epstein files with Trump, it's one of those things where he was just peddling this, the whole thing during his campaign. And he said, I'm going to release it. And this was something that like helped attract some voters to the booth. And he always talked about it. And he had a big following, and like some of his closest followers were all saying, we're going to release the files. And then right before like he has the opportunity to do it, he says, your names are in the files. Did you hear about that?
DOJ told him back in May or March that he was actually in the files. I think we all knew this. I think
everyone kind of did.
Knew, or that were paying attention to any news source in especially 2019 when Jeffrey Epstein died, was seeing photos of Donald Trump with Jeffrey Epstein. Maybe you don't remember it because of the way the news cycle, you.
Yeah.
Maybe a lot of people don't recognize it because of the way the news cycle has kind of rotted our memory for things, because we see everything and outrage and frustration and whatever. At this point, I call it now exacerbation bait. The algorithm has moved me personally away from rage bait stuff until I go, say, to like Ground News and start reading different headlines.
Yeah.
Then the rage bait comes in hard. But the algorithm consternation bait, maybe, where it's like, how do we do or say something that's so frustrating to him that he responds to it? But I have been getting absolutely lit up with the Epstein stuff. The funny one is Tim Dillon.
What do you say about it?
Well, it was a couple weeks ago. He was on a show talking about how he's been invited to special dinners with Peter Thiel, who is potentially Joe Rogan's secret handler, as well as maybe a few other podcasters or media personalities, like new media personalities. I'm sure some older ones. Tyler, stop it. I can hear everything you're doing in my mic, which is frustrating. Just fucking turn your fucking wrist. Just turn your wrist. There you go.
All right.
Lessons in Podcasting 101. Welcome back to the far side. What was it?
You were saying about the Epstein files.
Specifically, what about the Epstein files, though?
We're talking about how the DOJ was going to be released by May.
Most people saw it coming, paying attention, blah, blah, blah. I forgot what I was going to say.
One thing, just kind of continue.
Tim Dillon. Oh, that's right. Tim Dillon, 3 weeks ago, talking about Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is making a play to do what Rupert Murdoch did in the 90s and the 2000s, to consolidate all these small media groups so that he can control the narrative and do his own propaganda when he sees fit, and sort of act as like a state mouthpiece when they feel like they need to put something out through him. There's been another kind of media conglomeration group on the left that is happening and has happened recently, say with the Paramount merger with whatever it was called. Skydance, yeah. The whole thing that apparently... Did Stephen Colbert get, I heard money issues, financial stuff. my LA friends and news sources are all like, really? It's because Trump hated him. And I don't know. Trump seems, one, completely petty enough to do that. He is also old enough that most of what he is getting is, say, turning on the news and going, I'll just put on, CBS or whatever it is late night. And then Colbert comes on and he hears Colbert in the background while he's like getting his Darth Vader hair pulled off. Mm-hmm. And then Colbert's like, oh my God, Donald Trump. Donald Trump, Donald Trump. And he's like, I don't like the way my name is being said in this. So, yeah. Tim Dillon, Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel is, and like maybe Candace Owens, Tim Pool, there's a few others that it's kind of suspected he might be controlling these folks in some way, or influencing them to talk about certain things. Joe Rogan, maybe they've got him on it. He seems to. His philosophy is he doesn't want to push back because he wants to have like an easy conversation with people. So
I think he agrees with a lot of them too.
Exactly. He's coming from. He's kind of a paranoid guy.
Well, he always has been.
Considered.
He's a bit of a conspiracy theorist. Actually, he is a conspiracy theorist. Basically, Joe Rogan has kind of always just been like the stoner podcaster. That's always how he started out, was I'm just going to be the guy just asking questions. But I mean, as obviously after doing thousands of interviews, he's going to form an opinion. And it just tends to be more like...
Yeah, it's boomer Republican dad.
Basically, yeah. With a good sprinkling of like libertarian hippie mixed in. But like hippie in like the way of like survival.
Texas hippie.
Basically like an Alaskan hippie. Well, like an Alaskan hippie, that'd be probably flowers and peace too.
Yeah. The Peter Thiel is maybe pulling some Palantir, like letting the, Rogies know what it is going on behind the scenes. Tim Dillon, however, went on a dinner with someone from the White House. Reports say it is J.D. Vance, his new bestie. Mm-hmm. And I think he is very much not on the take necessarily, but Dillon is definitely getting everything he wants, and people are kind of mining his brain for things, but also using him as the modern version of a useful idiot. It's not like useful idiots are still out there, but with social media, you have, I'm calling them Curious Georges. That might be trademarked, who knows, but we'll figure something else out. These Curious Georges, like Andrew Schultz or Joe Rogan or Tim Dillon, Theo Vaughn's another one, the Nelk Boys, where their whole thing is like, we're just kind of curious. Like, we're just kind of curious. And they're not necessarily dumb. They're obviously not dumb. They're not necessarily the smartest.
I would argue, but continue.
Tyler, they are making lots and lots of money. I know you like to call them dumb because you're like, but like they are making a lot of money. That requires a certain amount of intelligence.
I'll give you credit for that. I mean, I would say that probably what I was referring to was that I believe they can be useful idiots in some cases because they are just kind of people answering questions. You're right. They do have a good enough like intelligence to say, hey, I can capitalize on this. I have a good enough marketing and branding and kind of keep it moving forward. I guess what I'm just kind of referring to that is sometimes when they have certain levels of guests on, they're just not really prepared for like those kind of interviews. So they just become a mouthpiece.
You're not grasping what I am saying because you didn't let me explain it. You just recapped everything that I said in a simpler fashion and missed the mark entirely. Well, so here is what a Curious George is compared to a useful idiot. A useful idiot is like Tim Pool not fact-checking who's giving him a bunch of money through donations and, it turns out it's Russia. Mm-hmm. Like, come on, dude. Your whole thing is, I love America and I'm for America at every thing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're getting kind of funded by all this Russian government money or whatever it is allegedly. That's kind of a huge blind spot. You're being used as a useful idiot there.
Yeah.
The Nelk boys, to your pushback, were used as useful idiots because they aren't smart.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't think they're dumb. I think some of these people know very much who their audience is. They know that their audience is the lowest common denominator of human intelligence in terms of like IQ to numbers. They're trying to go for middle bell curve. And to really get middle bell curve, you have to kind of probably tone things down. Say like Schultz on Flagrant or Theo Von. I think they tone down a certain amount of their actual intellect to just like talk and shoot the shit and kind of like act as audience surrogates to communicate what their audience might be thinking or feeling, but it's a certain amount of authenticity. It's because they're not the smartest, but they're also not useful idiots in the classic sense of the word. It's a new thing. It's these curious Georges that their curiosity and their willingness to be in the spotlight overrides, and their desire. They're all experienced tourists.
Yeah.
These are people that want attention, love attention. Hey, hi, my name's Austin. But like, they have found themselves in these pretty incredible positions. They want to do whatever they can to keep it going. And at this point, because their audiences are so big, and generally from the perspective of these elites that are kind of puppeteering them, have large, mostly unintelligent and or not critical thinking audiences. They're just passively ingesting most of what they're talking about. And they develop these parasocial relationships with these people, say like Joe Rogan, over the course of thousands of hours of content. Hundreds of hours, even if you're a casual listener over the years, you've probably listened to 100 or 200 hours of Joe Rogan. You feel like you kind of know him as an interviewer. Well, they don't need to necessarily use him as a useful idiot. They just use him as a curious George. Like, come on here and just say your thing, do your thing. Like, you're obviously smart enough, or people would not be interested in what you're doing, but you're a representative of a certain population, essentially. Like, a lot of guys that maybe have a chip on their shoulder about how intelligent they actually are.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like, I mean, yeah, I see your point.
My point's valid.
Oh. I guess just partly what I would say to guess add on top, or just for me, like a slight disagreement, would just be that, or I guess maybe it's worse if they do have kind of the intelligence to know, like, hey, we are going to invite someone big on, like, and they're going to be able to talk to our audience directly. Then in some cases, I guess, even though they're just curious Georges, just kind of asking the questions, do they really know, like, the gravity of, like, the person they're talking to and how they're going to develop to their audience?
So, like, Tucker Carlson, when he went and interviewed Putin, that was him being used as a bit of both, curious George and a useful idiot. Nelk Boys interviewing Benjamin Netanyahu. Useful idiot, but also a curious George. You don't get to the position they're in because of a lack of curiosity and this kind of idea that you get a bunch of exposure through this thing. Instead of it's also because it's the way I see it, it's not about shaping the narrative so much as it is about exposing a large amount of people to a character study on you that is as polished as possible. That's what they're doing as much as shaping the narrative. They can shape the narrative and give their thing all they want without any kind of pushback, but it's more about representing themselves in a certain way for a certain amount of time to a certain audience. That's what I think is the difference, because back in the days, this was about like Soviet dissemination of critical information deemed worthy of psychological warfare or whatever they wanted to use it as information war back in the day. 'Cause
Yeah.
you tell certain journalists like, hey, I've got this lead. Turns out the guy's a Russian spy or Russian asset. And he feeds someone at the Wall Street Journal a bunch of false information about what's going on in, I don't know, Bosnia in the late 80s or early 80s or whatever it is when all the war crimes are happening. That's useful idiot. Doesn't fact check correctly, gets fed a bunch of propaganda, gets used as a propaganda source.
Yeah, I think the Bosnia versus kind of the Yugoslavia conflict.
Whatever. That was a clumsy example. Don't get
Okay.
fucking hung up on the detail. I'm trying to explain a thing and then fucking move on because we've wasted a lot of time on this already.
Okay.
No,
I see your point. Yeah, I see where the podcasters kind of overlap or come from when they talk to basically import VIPs basically.
Yes, gradient.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You
obviously.
could say, what's the gradient of information propaganda mouthpiece? Are you a useful idiot where you're being disseminated a bunch of false information to push a propaganda narrative?
Yeah.
Or are you one of the Curious Georges who's being used as a character study of a politician, a Netanyahu, a Gavin Newsom, to give this whole polished interview narrative thing?
Yeah.
You telling me Gavin Newsom didn't practice a bunch before going on Sean Ryan and doing that whole thing? You telling me Netanyahu didn't have a couple fake podcasts or just... He's got the, I've been doing interviews forever, I could just show up and do it. And he does it because he knows exactly what he's doing, because the guy is a masterful politician, whatever anyone wants to say about him. But he also knew that he can use the Nelk Boys both as a useful idiot and as a Curious George. Mm-hmm. Whereas I think the White House J.D. Vance is using Theo Vaughn or Rogan or Tim Dillon, any of these people that they're kind of directly talking to, as Curious Georges, where because we know their character and we have some idea of their personality or online persona, ingesting a lot of this news and giving us a what to think, sort of their opinion piece on a lot. They go, well, this isn't about so much the information they have, because a lot of them have the same information we have, except Dylan goes, well, I've got this thing, so he is kind of being used as a useful idiot. I guess I take that back. But it's also about that character study of guys, I don't think Trump is a sexual predator. I think they would have used that already on him, and da-da-da. Eugene Carroll.
Yeah.
What the hell? His whole fucking first race, they talked about all the sexual assault accounts or accusations that Trump has had on him over the years.
Yeah.
They brought up the things with Epstein. To his credit, I don't think Trump was necessarily caught in too many compromising positions in terms of blackmailable stuff, because I think Trump is also a blackmailer, allegedly.
Oh,
I definitely think the Trump parties, all these things, he was probably allegedly procuring women, girls, probably that 16 to 22 is my guess what his age range. I've mentioned this on before. And I think he was having kind of the blackmail parties with those young women in New York or wherever. Trump parties, Trump hotels, all these things. Because he's got cameras, he's got video cameras everywhere. Still cameras, you can set up whatever kind of surveillance you want. It's your hotel. You're telling me he wasn't running any kind of blackmail out of there? He was doing all these deals and doing all this, and he wasn't?
Yeah.
Kind of greasing the wheels? I think he and Trump saw each other, and it was just birds of a feather immediately. That's the thing I think a lot of people are getting hung up on. That Trump wasn't a normal client in that sense. Trump was a fellow, perpetrator of this sort of mass merger of financial crime and blackmail and potentially human trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Trump's, you could call it like, you could kind of, but unfortunately what he was doing would have been fairly prevalent and has been for a while, of getting like 15, 16-year-old models to go to parties. Like that happens. I've heard about that happening still in Los Angeles. So like, allegedly.
Well, of course, allegedly. And I mean, at the same time, like, my saying would be expose them all. Like, anyone who's been doing that obviously should be, jailed, like, taken to court, like, tried and jailed, whatever how it goes. But, yeah, with Trump and Epstein, it's just, with Epstein and just in general, that's just not even focusing on Trump. It's like, there were probably so many people that he did blackmail as well, and I think Trump and him were maybe in cahoots about that. They had a falling out over something 2006, who knows?
Maybe a real estate deal. That is what many are saying. I think it also could have been Trump just realizing this is a little too hot for me.
Well, yeah, I think around that time or a few years after that, that's when he got in trouble, or around that time he was getting in trouble for this stuff, and Trump was like, bro,
Trump has The Apprentice. He's like really more, you could say, a public figure at that point.
Yeah, he was already a public figure, but he had like kind of a low point, and then he kind of, Apprentice is what really brought him back, because before that he was mostly just considered washed up.
Yeah, and like that's the thing, you're retired, you're out of the public eye, but all of a sudden you've got The Apprentice, and you're like, yeah, maybe I gotta stop hanging out with a guy that fucks 12-year-olds.
Yeah, you know what? He probably wasn't doing it. Someone probably in his team was like, hey, this is bad
like, sometimes
optics.
I think you have to frame it as objectively and as like bluntly as it is to really go like, yeah, I think Trump would have phrased it like that at some point, gone, you know what, Jeffrey? You like him a little too young.
He probably did say that, but at the same time, Trump was probably cool with it for a long time, being like, you know what? He was probably more like, I know you would like to do, I don't judge, but you're getting in trouble now.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I think Trump's thing was always women from like 16, 17 up.
Yeah, which is still pedophilia.
No, I'm not saying it's not weird or creepy or anything, but like, he grew up in a different time. No.
No, it's still a problem back then.
Scumbaggery. Although the amount of rock and roll songs from like the 60s or 70s that you critically, or even the 80s, critically listen to the lyrics and you're just like, 90s too, dude. There were a few where I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, there's a Stone Temple Pilots song, or is it Velvet Revolver? Which is creepier if it's Velvet Revolver, because they were in their like 50s, 40s at that point. The guy from Guns N' Roses, and then the singer from Stone Temple Pilots, Scott Weiland, and like Duff McKagan and all them. Just 16 is the song. And it's a song about a 16-year-old girl loving an older man, and it's just like, oh, the opening lyrics to a Motley Crue song is like, she's only 15. Da, 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 da. So I can't remember the whole thing. I just remember that lyric sticking in my head, just being like, oh no.
When you look back, I think in some of their mind, it was like they were supposed to be singing about a time when they were, in high school, but you look back and like, the optics just don't look good.
I don't think so. I think they were singing about groupies.
Oh, no, it was probably happening, and I don't think all the songs. I just think that sometimes you try to give that context, but you quickly have to say, like, well, Journey, it's like, what does he say? It's, oh my God, the opening lyrics.
In a town without a name. With the heavy downpour, he saw his own shadow by the backstage door.
Is that Journey?
It was the roar of the crowd. It was a distant scene. Put his head to the wall. and heard a distant scream. I'm messing up the lyrics. No, that's Foreigner, Jukebox Hero.
Yeah, that was a totally different me song. And I was like, okay, whatever. But going kind of back to your thing, I think when you look back at like so much of history,
Journey, just a small town girl living in a lonely world. She took the midnight train going anywhere.
Actually, yeah, that's like completely innocent and fine.
Just a city boy.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Born and raised in South Detroit.
But also that kind of proves
He wanted to suck balls and he couldn't do that anywhere.
But to prove your point,
so he took the midnight train to West Hollywood. Sorry. Shamona.
yeah. But to prove your point, when you were talking to basically about like all the different age gaps with like these old singers like singing about this young, Journey put it in a good direction where you could bring almost like folk songs, you can bring back to that time, not just the Lolita version of a song.
Bob Seger, I think like Hollywood Nights is about like being a young buck hanging out in the back seat of a car, hooking up, doing that whole thing with some chick. And I mean, it's a great song, but it's definitely about like a song about young lovers.
Yeah.
That is one thing, for sure. Another thing is some of these songs where you're listening to it and you're just like, you say girl a lot.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And there's like kind of a lot of things we're just looking back, like, I mean, if you just look at any movie basically back before,
so
like
when people are like, no way all these musicians ended up on the list, you're like, they must have just been there accidentally. You're like, but here's the thing. If you're a pedophile, allegedly, how cool would it be to be doing your evil shit with Katy Perry, like also doing it with you?
I don't even want to acknowledge that, to be fair. I mean, it doesn't make
Katy Perry was on the island.
I guess
more than a few times, apparently.
Well,
she went on that plane.
My guess is they probably kept it separate. But you're right. It's probably going to create a
they
fire.
Just walked around and talked to the staff the whole time.
I think they're probably just treated like royalty, kind of like what was that one movie?
That's what Trump did. He just talked to the staff.
We were almost watching a movie where it was Channing Tatum. He was the girl was just she was in Andor. Where it was about a gal who was constantly who goes onto this island with this really rich guy, and every day she can't remember like a certain portion of her night, and they're always doing drugs, and it turns out they were like being drugged the entire time. I feel like that
was apparently happening to a French woman. This actually happened to a woman in France.
Well, that's what I just imagined.
I think it was Paris.
Yeah.
Real fast. Her husband, I believe, was a professor or something like that. And he would drug her, like roofie her, every evening or every couple of evenings, like a week for a while, and pimp her out. Basically just let men come and assault her while she's passed out.
Well, I hope he's in jail for life.
I believe he is in jail for a very, very long time.
Good. Probably not long enough.
I think in Europe, in certain countries, the way they do it is they don't have the death penalty, but they have like these extended sentences with massive asterisks where they like revisit the sentencing like they do in all cases, the way their thing works. But it's a ton of addendums, so it's like, yeah, he can't actually get out. Kind of like the shooter in Norway.
Well, no, they actually changed it. You're right. For him, I think it is just so they don't have to change like parts of their constitution, maybe. Not 100% sure, but they did basically say he's effectively locked up for life. They're like, no way we're letting this man out.
See, U.S. government, other countries sometimes change laws to get people and punish them who are doing bad things and make examples out of them. I think that's one of the differences with European laws. They'll sometimes just like kind of, and that's a more old school traditional way, is just like make an example out of someone. Like, look at Singapore. Oh, you were chewing gum? You dropped it? 10 lashes.
Well, to be fair, they don't even sell fucking gum in Singapore. It's like just straight up gum, like, is illegal. I mean, they won't like punish
That's hot.
foreigners for bringing it in, but
They will confiscate it and tell you sternly, do not do this.
they will. I mean, Norway, for like that guy who did murder everyone on the island. Have you seen his jail cell?
Pretty nice.
It's actually really nice. It's like the size of this house almost. Not like the whole thing, but like laid out, because they gave him enough room, because they said if you're going to be in jail for life, they like gave him exercise, a bird. He has like an Xbox with no internet or something like that, like streaming services, like a little area to tan. All the books he can read.
But it's also super fucking dystopian.
Well, 100%. It's like, it looks straight out of a set they like show of dystopian like apartments who are like in hive cities, but at the same time it's like, it's crazy what their country will give to even some of the worst, where if you look at like the United States,
much smaller population.
oh yeah,
With a lot of
like
natural
5 million
resources.
Yeah,
So like you get the money when
exactly.
you ask. You're not paying it all out to private prisons. You
Well,
just get to go to government and go, hey, look, we'll put in a requisition for this kind of thing because we want to treat him, quote, humanely. I don't know. I say, like, blood eagle him.
Well, same here, but I was just kind of thinking of that compared to like where we send some of those people, where it's like Supermax in Colorado, even though that is honestly for the worst of the worst.
Or like the place where Epstein was sent, where it's like a Supermax, like fucking Gotham City prison. What is it? Gotham Asylum?
It's, yeah, the Metropolitan
Rikers Island.
like jail where P. Diddy was also, and a few others. It's usually like a holding place, but they do jail some people there for a while.
It was really nice of them to release a non-doctored bit of footage that was completely unedited and totally not, maybe even fabricated completely in some capacity by an AI.
Yeah, it's called Let's Distract You with As Much as Humanly Possible right now.
Tyler, why are we even talking about Epstein? Like, there were these things in all the places, and like the MLK files got released, so now we know the government killed MLK.
Yeah, did you...
What in the it's a distraction, sure, but it's also like, hey, Trump, you're blowing your whole wad here, and that's real suspicious.
Yeah, I want to get back to it, but did you see this South Park clip making fun of Trump?
Of course I did, Tyler. I was mainlining the internet today at work because I had things to do and I didn't want to do them.
Yeah, so to discuss that clip, because I did the same thing during lunch, is...
Satan.
None of the media people got this, but they should have, is... That used to be the exact version of Saddam Hussein's character.
I
early,
think a lot of media people didn't actually watch the full clip. Because Satan at the end starts to say it. He's like, you really remind me of someone I used to be a lover with.
Oh, no fucking way. Yeah, why didn't they include that?
Oh, yeah,
I mean, it wouldn't make
was,
sense to the general population.
Because you have to explain the backstory of the South Park movie, which came out in, 2002, 2003?
You could have easily showed, like... Yeah, but he was in... Saddam was in, like, 1 or 2 episodes, like, the early seasons.
That is true. But the big, like, Satan
and him, yeah,
relationship was... it was, a whole storyline in the South Park movie. He has a song at, like, some point. Somewhere out there.
Yeah.
Like, he has a whole, like... monologue about getting out.
Oh, but he also doesn't have a deep voice. He sings in his... He sings in, like, his high-pitched voice.
Saddam, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I like how he's like
Satan's got, like, a nice, like...
Oh, you're right. Satan
baritone.
does... You're right. Satan does have a full, like, pillar of, like, where he's trying to, like...
Because he wants to get out of hell.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. If we're to go with the Gnostic and or even biblical understanding of Satan or the devil... His hell is being the ruler of hell.
Yeah.
metal as fuck.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, you're the king of this place, but you fucking hate it. Like, this is your hell. Literally, this is your
And there's about 500 Kennys down there.
Oh, yeah.
I might actually, just because of this one episode, I might start to continue watching the rest of the season after basically taking a 15-year hiatus.
I canceled my subscriptions to a lot of that stuff because expenses.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not paying $20 to see that. Okay, so we pirate it.
No, we do nothing of the sort. We politely ask the internet to see if we could maybe see it in some place, in some fashion, and/or.
Actually, you know what? We're out of luck. We gotta pay for it.
Yep, we're out of luck, Ty. We gotta pay for it.
We gotta pay for it.
Gotta pay for it.
We gotta pay for it.
So, anyways, Tim Dillon is trying to run like an obfuscation smokescreen. And here's my conspiracy theory with Tim Dillon that no one else is hitting on. Tim Dillon and I think Andrew Schultz have kind of been offered by the Trump administration. I don't think maybe Andrew Schultz, but definitely Tim Dillon. As like, hey, this is your test. Like, if you can run a good smokescreen obfuscation campaign for this whole thing, you know, we're checking the metrics to see how many people are viewing your podcast or viewing your clips or doing whatever. So we're going to see you compared to other people that we have done other things with.
Yeah.
If you come out ahead of some of these people who are witting and some who are unwitting, then you can be our, like, Varys, you know, Shadow of Whisperers guy, Master of Whispers in the Game of Thrones show.
I mean, you read the books, you know more than I would.
Tyler, I have read the books. I have listened to the audiobooks. I have listened to lore videos on YouTube. I have watched lore streams. I have read the addendum material. I have read the short stories. One of the biggest frustrations I have about Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire, Dance with Dragons, I think got it correct.
It'll never end.
No, is just that, like, it's with the show like Game of Thrones and where Martin is with Winds of Winter, who knows? Maybe he's just going to wait until he dies and then he's going to have them released posthumously. I could see him doing that because he's such a fucking troll. It's one way to do it and never have to answer a single fucking question about your book.
Or he's a pissed off troll because he's like, and his book company probably doesn't care that he doesn't finish because he's probably made enough money with his other ventures and books that they've been able to get it back. But what pisses off just his diehard and longest fans is,
myself included,
one, he pisses you guys off because he's not finishing it, and two, he's just not finishing it. He wrote this fantastic series and just said, I quit halfway through. Or I mean,
I could also see
2/3 of the way through.
I could also see him doing a couple things. One, just kind of not finishing it, waiting, you know, he dies and then has someone named in his will as like, oh, you're going to carry the last two books. Or someone's. Or he plans on finishing the books. He just got super stuck and or is very depressed because a lot of the themes in his book are depressing. I could also see him convening a panel of writers and or, you know, like fantasy authors, all that stuff, and kind of workshopping some like more special ending.
Yeah.
I could see him being in that process now that he has like positive stuff that he's working on and making him happy. I could also see him have already finished everything and just being like, you know what, fuck Ali.
What if he just has an ending where Jon Snow is pushed off a ledge by Khaleesi? She just destroys all of King Landing and then just creates out of it the dragon by the beach landing.
Anyways, Tim Dillon is going to be the Varys Master of Whispers. So, well, here's the thing with Your ending, great. It's dramatic. It's honestly.
I was
not-
just making a joke. I have
No,
no.
it's not unlikely that like Jon Snow kills Khaleesi or vice versa in the end. That's actually like one of the bigger fan theories. What's going to happen at the end of the book?
Mm-hmm.
For what it is worth, you're onto something there. But that's kind of part of it. Is did it cause him depression
Mm-hmm.
or some other issues that exacerbated whatever the writer's block he's been experiencing? Just the fact that everything he is writing is so kind of depressing.
I mean, I could see that. Yeah, it's probably depressing, and he wants to probably write some more interesting or fun or monster-ridden. Because his version of Game of Thrones is semi-realistic medieval fantasy.
The more you look at it as like apocalypse fantasy, the more it kind of makes sense too. That like this is a world taking place in kind of a lull or a decline, more like a Dark Ages period.
Yeah, and the whole point is that maybe the book at the end, they will like start to get past this period. Like they hit the climax of it. I think that's kind of what he's boiling to. Like this is like the climax of like a depressive spiral in story. Because if he keeps going where everyone just keeps killing each other, you just get to the point where there's like nothing left and you just reach like extinction.
Well, it's about, the way I see it is he could go a way of pursuing more heroic motives for certain characters or certain themes, where it wouldn't be necessarily a huge shift. It would be a divergent from where he maybe currently has them, which is like terrible ending just in despair and meaningless. Whereas the other side of it is that you could make it more hopeful in that it's about our duty to endure to the end. It's about the perseverance of human spirit in spite of insurmountable odds. The way Tolkien kind of did it.
Yeah.
I get it. He doesn't want to copy him on that. But I think it would... Sorry. But I think it would go a long way to like bringing the story together to do that. So
I mean, I kind of hope for a happy ending after a whole depressing book, but I mean, he could
you
just
didn't read it.
Will there be a happy ending?
No, many of the endings are going to be just fucking terrible.
Oh, I mean, I hope one person has a happy ending.
Like maybe a couple. Some of the like people will just, I think, realize that they're going to fuck off from the world of international affairs of Westeros and just find some nice village wife and bang it out and have a couple kids.
What if, full George R.R. Martin move, everyone dies by the end by a random character who's never introduced into the last chapter, and then they just step onto the throne? Comes out of nowhere, never heard of him. Guy just goes.
So that's already kind of being set up as a possible outcome of things.
Where there's just like a complete unknown who comes in like 2 to 3 last chapters and murders everybody.
The trouble is the books are so big that the way Martin writes is he will add things in books and then kind of fill them out in later books. He views it as gardening, so it's like planting a seed and kind of seeing where that seed grows. But there's plenty of things that he planted that never got watered, never whatever. Or you're very suggestively rubbing the mic, and it's very strange. I don't like it. So there's a lot that people read into Martin's world building.
Yeah.
That some of it could just be seeds that grew and kind of were unwatered, and it's just, hey, like that's just a thing. And I think Martin's acknowledged therein. But anyway, speaking of fan fiction that's created around your work, I think Tim Dillon is essentially doing his media obfuscation tactic to try and become the Varys Master of Whispers for like media relations in like J.D. Vance's White House. I think Trump... Remember how Bannon was to Trump?
Yeah, and
I think Dillon's going to be that to Vance.
And Tim Dillon, he's the guy with the beanie that...
No,
he's the comedian, right?
he usually wears like a ball cap and sunglasses.
Yeah, he's kind of a
We've
shock
listened
jockey.
to him together. He is not a shock jockey.
think a little bit, but okay.
No, you don't know what a shock jockey is. Shock jockey is like Howard Stern having women on to like fire ping pong balls out their pussies.
Okay.
That's shock jock.
Mm-hmm.
Or like having a bunch of fart noises. Whoa,
Yeah.
what did you? How many bodies do you have? Bleh?
Yeah.
Like that's shock jockey.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Dillon is just kind of like his whole character is very much ironic and sarcastic and depressingly realistic about a lot of things. And
Mm-hmm.
you don't like depressing realism because you are a golden retriever at heart.
I think a golden retriever mixed with husky, but go on.
You do not run enough to be mixed with husky.
Challenge accepted. I'm a
No.
lazy husky.
No, you're more like golden retriever mixed with some like staffy. Like American Staffordshire Terrier.
I'll take it.
Yeah, you're a little like thick chunk, but you also just have that like especially after a couple IPAs.
Well, of course. That's why whenever I, go to the bar, everyone's like, "Oh my god, look at that, he's here." Good times. Everyone
It's
loves
funny.
me at the party.
Yeah, for such the owner of 3 cats, you are very much more a dog at heart, or of spirit, of soul. Whereas me, with these 2, I'm definitely more of like a cat.
I can see this
in my heart.
I can see the difference, but sometimes when you want to cuddle with them,
I'm like
sometimes
a
my
little
cats are
tiger.
cuddling, and I'm like, I've had enough of you. You can sit over there, and I'll pet them, and they'll.
Yeah,
pass
that's
out.
because your cats want you to play with them. Like,
give 'em
just get the fucking flirt pool.
I make
Play
them.
with your damn cats.
I'm giving exactly how most people treat other cats. I give them space, and that's why they love me.
You know why your cats fucking love me? Because I
Because-
play with them.
I do play with them though. I'm just kidding. I sit there and I dangle the little thingy like a little fishing rod, and I occasionally smack them with it. I'm just kidding.
Anyways, you heard it here, folks. Tim Dillon is going to be to J.D. Vance what Steve Bannon was to Trump. Like, share, comment, subscribe. I think Tim Dillon wants to be the master of whispers. He wants to be the virus.
I could see that. I mean, it would blow him up quite a bit more than he already is now. And he doesn't really have Trump's version of republicanism, but he does have like a very nihilistic attitude.
What is nihilistic?
I guess I'm nihilistic.
Nihilistic, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also... I think that's a certain amount of that is
Mhm.
the comedic character he is putting on and playing for the whole thing.
Yeah. Would you say he's more like the Stephen Colbert in some cases? Like, no, that doesn't fit. I take that back.
If Stephen Colbert was... He's more like Alex Jones if Alex Jones was less of a libertarian and more of an fiscally conservative, socially liberal independent. Populist independent, I guess, would be Tim Dillon.
Yeah.
God damn, your mouth is dry.
I've been trying to do.
No, I know. It's that you rip in that pen like 1,600 times before, and the vape that just coats your mouth different than actual smoke. That's just a fact.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been drinking enough water because coffee and stress is how I get through the day. No, it is not healthy.
No, I still had like.
Anyways,
More than you
we're out of topics. We barely had topics. If you made it at all through this episode, you're a fucking treasure, and we love you. And I think it's time to call it because I'm getting sleepy and my tummy hurts. I'm a stomachache survivor. You heard it here, folks.
Bye.